Hi everyone, it's Kim Bopney, the Vagina Coach, and we are going to talk about Kegels. So Kegels work when they are done correctly, consistently, and coordinated with movement. So the coordinated with movement part is kind of the game changer, and it's why I named my program Kegel Mojo, because Mojo is taking us beyond sitting at every red light and doing Kegels or doing them while we brush our teeth. We need a pelvic floor that responds to movement through the day, to laughing, coughing, sneezing, jumping, running, whatever it is. And when we coordinate our pelvic floor muscle contractions and relaxations with our breath and with movement, it ups the ante on our whole core function. So I have my vulva puppet here, and I'm going to use this as a bit of a visualization for you. So the pelvic floor is a group of muscles that forms the base of our pelvis. It attaches to our pubic joint in front, our tailbone in the back, and our two sits bones. So if you were to reach through your butt cheeks and grab those little bony points, those are your sits bones. And they make sort of a diamond shape. And within that, within our pelvis, we have our vulva, and inside we have our vagina as well. So some visualizations using the vulva puppet can be helpful with regards to how to do a Kegel correctly. So what I want you to do is to sit on a hard surfaced chair, and I want you to sit in a neutral pelvis, meaning I want those two bony points in your bum to be on contact with the chair. And then I also want your vulva to be on the surface of the chair. So you're going to have to nod that pubic joint forward so that your vulva is on the surface of the chair as well. So that's kind of like a tripod. Vulva plus the two sit bones should be your reference points when sitting. Typically, when we sit in more of a posterior tilt, our reference points are more the back part of the sits bones and our tailbone. That's not super supportive for our pelvic floor health, for our back health, for posture, for anything. So nod that pubic joint forward and come into more of a neutral pelvis. From here, I want you to inhale and expand, and I want you to see and feel in your body where that breath goes. So just take a few inhalations. Do you feel like when you inhale, your shoulders elevate? Do you feel your chest expand? Do you feel your ribs expand? Do you feel your belly expand? So kind of get a reference point as to where the in-breath goes in your body. And then on the exhalation, notice again what changes or what happens in your body. Do you notice that your shoulders sink down? Do you notice that your ribs come together? Do you notice that your belly naturally draws inwards? What are you seeing or feeling in your body? This time, I want you to inhale with intention, and I want you to keep your shoulders quiet, and I want the breath to go into your bra strap. So I want you to imagine that your bra strap or your heart rate monitor is expanding. So as your in-breath, as your diaphragm expands, your ribs are expanding and allowing that breath to come in. And then I also want you to see if you can allow that belly to be soft, which is really hard, especially for women, and especially for women who are dealing with any sort of pain or sort of core control challenges. It's very, very common to kind of suck in and hold that in. So I want the belly to be soft. I want the inhalation to expand laterally into the ribs. I want there to be an overflow into the belly, so your belly is going to naturally expand. And then can you bring your attention to that vulva on the surface of the chair, and can you feel almost like your vulva, I'll tip it up for a second, can you feel like your vulva is blossoming open, expanding, so that you should feel a sense of fullness on the surface of your chair. And then when you exhale, there's a natural drawing away, that fullness, that blossoming is closing, so there's kind of a close and a lift, so you feel less fullness on the surface of the chair. The belly will naturally draw inwards. You don't need to think about pulling the belly button into your spine. Your ribs will naturally soften and return to their midline point. So inhales are expansive, laterally into the rib cage, overflow into the belly, blossoming the vulva. Exhales are a retraction of that fullness, a drawing in of the belly, and a return to neutral of the ribs. So that would be sort of a coordinated Kegel. Let me back up. That's a coordinated breath with the normal action in our pelvic floor muscles. Now we want to add on a voluntary contraction. So this is where the most common part of a Kegel comes in. When people think of Kegels, they think of contracting or squeezing. And it is that. There's also a lift and there's also a letting go. So we need to have a balance between all of those things. It's not just about squeezing the heck out of your vagina. So we're going to coordinate that with the breath. You're going to inhale and expand, and then you're going to exhale, and now I want you to purse your lips, the lips on your face, and blow as you exhale. Can you feel like that sort of heightened your awareness of that fullness leaving the surface of the chair and of your belly drawing inwards? Now we're going to add on one more step, and it's going to be a visualization cue. So I want you to inhale and expand, blossom your vulva. Now as you exhale, think about picking up a blueberry with your vagina. So your vagina is on the inside here, but you can imagine your vulva also doing it. Grabbing your blueberry and picking it up. And then on your in-breath, again, that's the expansion and the letting go, can you put that blueberry back down? And I always say you want to put it back down as a whole blueberry, not as juice. We're not squeezing the heck. We're not trying to squish that blueberry or lift pianos with our vaginas. We are trying to pick it up gently, use as much force as we need, and then put it back down. So if blueberries aren't working for you, we can try a different cue. I want you to inhale and expand, blossom, blossom, blossom. I want you to exhale. Now imagine you're sipping a milkshake through a straw with your vagina as you exhale. Inhale and let that go. So there's no best cue, it's which one is best for you. You can self-evaluate using your own fingers. So at home, you can insert 1 or 2 fingers into your vagina and practice that inhalation and that exhalation with blueberries or milkshakes, or there's jellyfish, anything, any type of cue. I'll go through a couple of other ones in a second that you can think of that will help you hug the fingers, gently draw them upwards, and then let them come back down. So you can self-assess. You can also have your partner assess for you. Best of all is to see a pelvic floor physiotherapist. They can assess, and they will do a whole overall core pelvic floor abdominal wall assessment for you to give you kind of the full meal deal. Other cues could be, imagine you have, if you wear tampons or Diva Cup, imagine your tampon or your Diva Cup is starting to slip out and you need to gently draw that back up and in. You could imagine your fingers or your partner's fingers or penis or a toy, and you want to gently hug that and draw it up and in and then let it go. It's really important to focus on the letting go. And a lot of people, as I said earlier, think Kegels are just about squeezing, but they're about a contract and a lift and a letting go. So we need to practice all parts or be conscious of all parts. And sometimes we might need to spend more time on the letting go. So you might spend a few more blossom breaths where you're thinking about that expansion and that letting go before you add a contraction. So we maybe do 2 or 3 blossom breaths without the voluntary lift, and then add a voluntary lift after you've done a nice set of 3 relaxation or opening expansive type breaths. Pause right here. You could imagine a jellyfish. A jellyfish is softly floating and very expansive, very open, and then when it's ready, the edges come together and it propels itself up to the surface of the ocean. You can use your own fingers, as I mentioned earlier. You can use your partner's fingers, partner's penis, a toy, anything that allows you to sense a gentle hug and a drawing up and in, and then a letting go. Many people do have to spend more time focusing on the letting go. As I said earlier, Kegels are not just about contraction. Most people think they are. They're a balance between the contract, lift, and letting go. So if you feel that you need to spend more time on that letting go, take 3 blossom breaths or expansive breaths for every 1 contract and lift. Really make sure you're thinking about expanding and blossoming and opening, widening the sit bones, whatever you need to do to think about completely letting go of that tension. Sometimes when we have stuck tension, it interferes with our ability, with the ability of our muscles to be able to contract properly. If they're always in a semi-contracted state, they become tired, they become overused, and something else might have to come in and compensate. And also, my capacity to generate force is hindered because I've already used up some of that room. Here is my full range of motion, and I have more capacity to generate force. If I'm here, I have only a little bit left. So the same goes in your pelvic floor. If it's chronically holding on to tension, whether it's because you're sitting or standing in a tucked position, or maybe you're really stressed, or maybe you are focusing on holding your abdomen in or doing clenching type Kegels all day long, then it's the pelvic floor's ability to respond to things like laughing, coughing, sneezing, jumping will be hindered. So let's give it the best opportunity by spending less time sitting. When we are sitting, make sure we're sitting in neutral with our vulva and our sit bones on the surface of the chair. And 2 minutes a day, maybe 3 minutes a day, practice that in-breath, that core breath I call it. So you're going to inhale and expand, exhale, purse your lips, use your best core cue to draw up and in, inhale and blossom again, and make sure that you're paying attention daily to your pelvic floor. So Kegel Mojo is Kegels done correctly, consistently, and coordinated with movement. The coordinated with movement piece you can find in my 28-day challenge. You can also find it in my online program, Kegel Mojo Complete. And you can also do it if you're interested in coaching with me. So there you go, Kegels 101.